Hello ladies and gentlemen, Pork Chopper here, back again with another video, this time giving my initial thoughts on update 42. I did do a deck building guide a couple of days ago if you wish to check that out down below, and we'll be making daily Paragon videos, so do subscribe if you wish to stick around for the latest guides and builds. So I've had roughly played 10 PvP games and 10 PvE games, and I have learnt a lot from it, experimenting with different heroes in interesting roles to really test this patch out. Please do comment down below your first thoughts. What do you think of this new patch so far, and how many games have you played? I want to know. So my first thoughts? Well, let's start with the new card system. I am a huge fan of this, and it only took a few tries before I really understood how to make decks. The variety and freedom of cards is amazing to have. You don't think, okay, I'm going to make a Grux jungle deck, instead you think, right, I'm going to make a stealthy assassin jungle deck which any hero can use. This freedom in the game is something Paragon has always missed, and it feels so good to go into a draft knowing you can pick any role you want with any hero. 12 cards is more than enough to have in one deck, and being able to swap cards in and out at will in game feels amazing compared to the old system. The problems I have with it are mostly due to the UI. I think it's hard to keep track of what cards you have selected on the screen, not being able to mark decks for specific roles, so when in game picking a deck it can take you ages to find the right deck for you without a search option. I hope over time, which they have stated, that they introduce more cards in, as it does lack depth currently. I think a perfect number would be 4 cards per each affinity, but we won't get anywhere near that number until the full release of the game. In game, I like the attribute points and the layout of it, but the scoreboard really needs improvement. You can't see the total number of deaths or kills for either your team or the enemy team now, or max gold for each player has received this match. This makes it hard to really know if you are ahead or not of the enemy team without having to look at the damn scoreboard for a minute. The whole UI is getting redone, so I'm sure most of these issues will be resolved with it. Now let's get on to the gameplay. First to note, if any of you were expecting an amazing flawless experience, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Like Epic have reiterated multiple times, this is a proper beta. They are building the game with us. This huge patch I knew was going to have a lot of issues. I hope Epic don't take too long to start changing the issues many players are facing. So let's go over the good first. Even though the attack speed animations are crazy right now, which they plan to fix in most cases, I do enjoy the overall attack speed changes. Only hero class I don't is carries because it requires dramatically less skill to aim. The creativity and freedom of roles in the game is truly amazing. Looking at what cards everyone is using and seeing your cards up on screen when in use is so satisfying in my eyes. You can now really tell if a card is actually doing something, and seeing what the enemy builds are and able to counter them has never felt better. It will just take us a really long time to get into the groove that there are a lot of cards that counter a lot of problems in the game. An example was this card in Chaos, which increases damage on enemies with more vitality than you. I had 2 vitality and an enemy tank had 20 vitality, and I blew him to pieces. That sort of counterplay is great. Early game time to kill is higher, which I am a fan of, and every hero feels viable in most roles you wouldn't even consider them in. I even played Narbash carry. Now let's get into the negatives. Minion waves are way too big, forcing shorter game times and not in a fun way. This reminds me of a few months back when they made Orb Prime have death touch, so if you killed it, it was pretty much an instant win, a silly way to decrease game time. The big minion waves aren't as bad as that, but clearly Epic wanted to reduce the game time, and this should have not been the case. Losing because you cannot clear the waves fast enough because they now have ability armor, meaning even a hero like Counter struggles to clear them, is a big problem. Less minions means less gold to farm too. These 2 changes would be really nice to increase the match times to over 30 minutes most games and make it feel more healthy. Epic said that they didn't want heroes to solo or prime anymore, so they removed lifesteal from it. But even so, most heroes can solo orb quite easily 20 minutes plus if you have the right cards. You can see me doing it right now in a bot game with Grux. This is a huge issue which contradicts what they have said, so they better get onto it ASAP. The overall balance of the game is a mess, that's for sure. Certain combinations of cards and on heroes create some ridiculous problems. Like I said, not a fan of multi-shot and attack speed on carries. Due to no gold limit, Wukong can keep so overpowered it's insane. With a lifesteal card, he practically late game is unstoppable, and I mean it. He could 1-3-3 easily. Deathcrawler on Kalari deals around 1000 damage out of stealth. Red with his extra crit damage on his last shot with Deathcrawler means he can pretty much one-shot most low health enemies, as it does around 1500 damage. Support cards like Killing don't have enough to support the team late game, because the time to kill has this skyrocket effect. Once a few strong cards come online, the time to kill gets so low team fights are over in seconds. Building tanky isn't as much a thing as it was, and I'll say it personally felt time to kill and match lengths in version 41 before the update was some of the best we have ever had in Paragon, but with this new change it's going to take a long time for Epic to get back to that healthy state of the game. And my last complaint is the jungle. In version 41 I felt like it was a challenge to farm minions. It made skillful junglers have a big advantage, but I do agree it was a little too hard early game to farm them, but now it's kindergarten level and it's really boring to do. Somewhere in between to make the minions harder to kite or just add an extra mechanic to the jungle would be great, as right now farming camps is super boring. So, my closing thoughts. The patch has true potential, but we can't wait weeks for change. We need it soon and quick. Weekly updates, adjusting stuff over time is what I want, not waiting for data for 4 weeks before they think of a patch. This won't help at all. There were plenty of counter cards to most things I stated as problems in this video, such as big minion waves, so maybe as the meta adjusts itself, my opinion could change, but overall I'm having a lot of fun messing around, playing heroes in roles they shouldn't, and you should too. This was the change Paragon needed, but it's just going to take some time to balance it out. Thank you all very much for watching this video, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.